All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on what's really going on inside the Unification Church. We've got our hands on an internal address, and it paints a picture of an organization that feels like it's in a fight for its very survival in South Korea. This isn't some outside analysis, this is their crisis, in their own words.
And this one sentence, wow, this just cuts right to the heart of the whole problem. Think about that for a second. It's this incredible admission of just how toxic they feel their public image has become. They've reached a point where just the act of hiring a lawyer to defend themselves is seen as proof that they're guilty.
So, how on earth did it get this bad? Well, their first major battle is on the legal front. They basically describe it as being stuck in quicksand, a total quagmire where they feel like they've been made defenseless before the fight has even really started.
And you can see this incredible domino effect. First, their top lawyers quit. Then, anytime they even try to hire new ones, there's this huge public outcry. Any lawyer brave enough to take their case gets immediately labeled as unjust. It's gotten so bad that it's practically impossible for them to even keep a lawyer. They're basically radioactive.
Now, just when you think it can't get more complicated, there's the health of their leader, Hak Ja-han, who members call True Mother. And the big concern here boils down to one number, 83. She's 83 years old, and her health is reportedly not great, which adds this whole other layer of vulnerability at the absolute worst possible time.
But here's the crazy part. Even that vulnerability gets turned against them. The address says that whenever she's hospitalized, it's immediately spun by their opponents as a tactic, a trick to avoid getting a legal summons. It's a total catch-22, right? A real health issue is seen as some cynical move, so there's just no room for any sympathy.
And that trap just keeps getting tighter. When members of the church community get out and protest what they see as a totally unfair investigation, it's not reported as a legitimate grievance. Nope, it's called organized obstruction. It seems like every single thing they do to defend themselves just makes the hole they're in even deeper.
Okay, so that's the legal mess. But it's completely tangled up with their second battlefront, the media. They feel like they're not just facing a court of law, but the court of public opinion. And it's a battle they know they are losing. Big time.
And you can see right here just how dramatic that shift has been. It's like a before and after. On one side, you have what they used to be known for, things like their anti-communist stance and global relief work. But now, they say that history has just been wiped clean, replaced with this narrative of illegal activities, scorn, and even mockery.
So what's fueling this media firestorm? Well, they're pointing the finger right back at themselves. This quote suggests a huge problem with internal leaks. We're talking top-secret information, known only to the highest leadership, ending up in the hands of reporters almost overnight. It suggests the problem isn't just external, it's coming from inside the house. On top of that, they're basically admitting that their own playbook is completely outdated. Trying to fight back by taking out newspaper ads just doesn't work anymore. It's like they're bringing a newspaper ad to a TikTok war. They're fighting a modern media battle with old-school tools, and they know it's a losing fight. So you've got this legal nightmare and this PR disaster, and it all builds to what they see as the most devastating consequence of all, a direct threat to their own future and to the faith of their children. The address actually asks this question directly, and you can feel it just hanging over everything else. This isn't about PR strategies anymore. For them, this is about existential survival. The future of their entire community is on the line. And here's what that means for people on the ground. Life in Korea is becoming incredibly difficult for members. There's a very real fear that their kids, the second generation, are just going to walk away from the church because of all the social pressure. And their whole mission to educate people is falling apart because, as they put it, how can you reach anyone when your public image is in tatters?
Okay, so things are looking pretty grim, right? But they're not just rolling over. Instead, they're trying to frame this moment as one final opportunity. It's a huge pivot from just playing defense to finally going on the offense. It's a call to action.
And their reasoning is pretty straightforward. They believe silence is no longer an option. It's basically a death sentence. They're saying, look, if we just sit here and keep taking these hits, even the few friends we have left are going to walk away, and then they'll be completely alone. So what's the game plan? Well, it's essentially a four-step counterattack. First, they're going to double down on defending their leader. Second, they want to unleash their most prominent lecturers to actually engage with the media. Third, go on the attack by holding their own press conferences. And finally, try to seize back the narrative by reminding everyone of their founders' achievements.
And they wrap it all up with this classic line. You know, it's easy to dismiss that as just a cliche, but in this context, it feels less like a corporate slogan and more like a desperate prayer.
From where they're standing, this crisis is the ultimate test. Maybe the very last chance they'll get to change the story before society's judgment becomes final.